Hey there, everybody. My name is Kat Bowser. I'm your resident fantasy therapist, and welcome back to my channel. Those of you here for the first time, welcome. My name is Kat Bowser. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm also a writer working on my first novel. And on my channel, I like to talk about what I consider to be the heart of writing, which is the characters. And the heart of the characters is in their psychology. So that's the angle I'll take with pretty much everything I talk about on my channel. So today I am doing a tag. I was tagged by Joey Paul, thanks. And this is the Defying Writer Stereotypes tag. So anything that's talking about the writing process is always fun. So this was originally created by Eileen Nessman, I believe. I have linked their channel in the description below, as I have Joey's. So let's just get right into it. So first question. What are 3 to 5 writing stereotypes that don't define you? Oh, this one's fun. I don't have a cat. I have 2 dogs, but I do not have a cat. Nothing against them. I'm just more of a dog person. Cannot stand coffee. Hate the taste of it. No matter what you do to it, no matter how you doctor it up, can't do it. I drink usually either tea or soda or water. So yeah, I am just not a coffee person. Going off of that, I cannot write in a coffee shop. I've tried. It's too loud, it's too noisy, and even though I can't write in pure silence, it's just too chaotic for me to think. So that's another one. I think those are the major ones that I can think of. I'm sure there's a few others that don't match me, but those are the major ones that come to mind when I think of writer stereotypes. Question number 2, what is the hardest part of the writing process for you? For me, it's kind of editing, but then it's also kind of drafting. And I think it's because all my stories pretty much have more than one point of view. So what I tend to do is I actually, instead of having one Word document, like for right now in my work in progress, I have 6 Word documents for the same story. And each one is a different point of view. So what I do is I write all 6. And then at the very end, I edit all 6. And then I slam them together into one draft. And there's the first draft. That can be difficult, mainly because some points of view are more fun to write than others, depending on where I am in the writing process. Like right now, Zava's point of view is a lot of fun. Akiska's is a lot of fun. But Anise and Tima's and Suna's are a little slow right now because theirs become more important later on in the story. So I have to get through the slow parts, and that's actually one reason I like doing multiple points of view at a time, because even if it's in a slow burn area of one part, I'm usually in an exciting part of another. So I'm going to say both editing and drafting just because of the way I do it. Question 3, do you ever feel imposter syndrome as a writer or as a YouTuber? Yes to both. I really don't think there's any writer alive that has never felt imposter syndrome at least once. I don't get that too often, and I really think the reason is that the reason I'm writing the story I'm writing right now is because I can't find it. I tend to like things that aren't necessarily very popular, or at least not so much in the limelight as other things. So I guess maybe for me it's easier because there's not as much comparing myself against. Now, as a YouTuber, I get this a lot more actually, because I do try to put a lot of effort into my videos, and sometimes I wonder if it's because I don't have the best editing program, or, pick a reason. But I'm loving how my channel is growing, so I try to remind myself it's a slow grow, and that's just the nature of the beast. So yeah to both, but I think I worked through them pretty well. Question number 4, do you generally receive support or skepticism about your writing? I seem to be very lucky in that I've never received skepticism from anyone whose opinion I really hold in high regard about my writing. I have always been very encouraged about my writing. My dad in particular, and my husband. And my dad is a very logical person. So when he figured out that I wanted to do writing as a career eventually, his main advice to me was just have a backup plan to bring in money until you get to the point where you can do it full time. And I think that's very good advice, honestly. Um, my husband has always been supportive, but he isn't just a cheerleader. I mean, if I'm explaining something that's happening in one of my stories or I want feedback, he'll tell me if he doesn't think it works. But then he'll work with me and talk with me to figure out what does. So mainly mainly positive feedback. Um, Now, when I first started writing fan fiction. I've gotten skepticism from that, and that's just the nature of fan fiction. But I'm honestly happy about it because I think being a writer, you have to have a tough skin. And anybody who has spent any time in any fandom knows that you develop a tough skin. If you write or do fan art in any fandom, you will develop a tough skin because you have to. Some people are notoriously mean, and so I'm actually grateful for them because they taught me how to take feedback and how to judge feedback. So, yay. Question number 5. What is one piece of writing advice you would give to new writers? Um, I'm going to cheat and give 2 just because it's my video and I can do that. um, One is write what you want. Just write what you want. I think a lot of times we tend to be our worst critic, especially if we're doing our first draft. So I encourage people just write it. Just get it done, get it written, and then go back and look at it. I edit a little bit as I write, mainly only on events that I have to fix for the rest of the story to make sense. But I try not to edit too much because I think we tend to get into the never ending circle of editing when we do that. There's some people that can do it and some people that are very good at it. But I would encourage people until you figure out if you're good at it, don't try it. Just get the first draft written, and then worry about it. Second piece of advice, and I would consider this to be the most important piece, is when you do start putting writing out there, regardless of what form, if it's poetry, if it's fan fiction, if it's short stories, whatever it is, save the feedback you get, particularly the positive. Because what I do, I have saved every piece of positive feedback I've ever received on any of my writing. And I believe the earliest one I have was when I was in 7th grade. I still have it. And I save them on a folder on my computer. And actually have started to print them out so that I have them in hardback form. Reason being, when imposter syndrome hits, and it will hit, you have something to go back to and flip through and re-encourage yourself. And I think that's very important to have because imposter syndrome can hit the best of writers. So it's nice to have something to kind of remind yourself, okay, no, I have grown. I have gotten better. Like, for instance, guys, the first feedback I received was on my first fan fiction that I put up. It was in 96-ish, I think. Something like that. I was in junior high. And I received a 2-page feedback from someone who was in their 30s. Now, to me at that time, I was like 13. So this was like receiving feedback from like a professor or something. So I was very excited about it, especially because they were very prominent in the fandom. And they gave me very good feedback, not just positive, but constructive. So like the things that they saw that didn't work well, they told me why. But they also told me what I did do well and what I needed to keep building on. And I still have that email and I still go back and look at it. And it's really interesting to see how much better I've gotten. And I will be eternally grateful to that person for taking the time to give me that feedback because it really does make a difference. So save your feedback. Even if it's something as silly as in your mind to nice story, I liked it, or even something as simple as like a thumbs up emoji, save it. It will probably come in handy later. So that is the Defying Writer Stereotypes tag. Thank you, Joey, for tagging me. I pretty much tag anyone who sees this video and wants to do it because I think this is a really fun tag to do. As I said, you can find the original creator of the tag in the description below. And make sure you guys leave comments on what you think of these kind of questions because I love answering this kind of stuff and I want to see you guys' input as well. So that being said, as always, if you guys like this content, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss when I upload. I upload every Friday, every Sunday. If you guys have suggestions or comments, make sure you leave them below. I will definitely respond to them when I can. And until the next video, I hope you have a good one.